NDP. So Ms.
Don't
Thomas
forget to like,
has 5
dislike,
minutes.
subscribe, and comment. Safe Space Cafe. And always, have
Thank
a
you,
good
Chair.
day.
Madam Tate, you said that integrity is of utmost importance to you just a moment ago, and you've referred to it in the journalistic standards as well. I would just return to my colleague's question. You'll see here that this is the article when it was originally published by the CBC. You claim that 90 minutes later it was changed. I have that article title. It's here. This is after 90 minutes. Now, in your journalistic standards, you say that, and I quote, "When we make corrections and clarifications online, we should include on the story page an explanatory note to the audience." Again, I have this article right here, and I don't see an explanatory note. So with the journalistic standard and integrity being so important, why wasn't this done?
My understanding, and again, as Mr. Julian pointed out, there were several other stories that followed those two that if you read the entire thread,
I'm not
you will
holding
see.
those other folks accountable. I'm asking the CBC with regards to your journalistic standards. You say that you're supposed to offer a correction notice. That didn't happen. Why?
Again, I defend the journalism and its independence.
I'm not asking about the journalism.
Yes, but I'm sorry, if I may answer. I would say, if I may answer, our journalists conduct themselves in an independent fashion. I cannot answer the question as to when they post a correction or when they do not. That is their business, and they conduct themselves according to the JSPs.
Ms. Tate,
and
it's
I'm
more
not
than
here
10
to
days
answer.
later. There's no
I'm not
correction.
here to answer on whether or not they corrected a piece of journalism or not.
Well, she seems incapable of answering the question. It's basically about why they can't use what this is. The Canadian government called them a terror organization. The CBC believes they're better and they're smarter than their own government, that they're paid for by the Canadians. I think it's despicable.
And again, I
Check
would
this
invite you
continued
to,
out.
if you are concerned about the journalism, I invite you to reach out to the Ombudsman, just as every Canadian has the right to do so, if you do not feel
Sure, I would
that the
invite the member
journalism
to
has
speak
been
to you
adhered to.
directly and not to me, and perhaps to refrain from raising her voice toward me.
Madame Thomas, j'ai pas l'impression que Madame Tate.
I don't have the impression that she raised her voice, but I do agree that the answers should come through the chair. Thank you, Ms. Tate.
Madame Thomas.
When an article is written blaming Israel for an airstrike that it did not commit, and that has been confirmed by countries around the world and intelligence agencies from around the world, and the CBC still insists that it stands behind that article, professing that the attack did come from Israel. That is, in fact, the spreading of dangerous disinformation. We're inviting you, Ms. Tate, through the chair, to offer an apology to the Jewish population in Canada, and I dare say to all Canadians, because they have $1.4 billion invested in this public broadcaster, and you are right, they do depend on you to tell the truth. So when the truth is not told, when a mistruth is spoken, when disinformation is spread, especially dangerous disinformation like this, an apology seems right. And if not an apology, bare minimum, a correction. Neither of those things have happened. So again, would you apologize to the Jewish population and all Canadians?
No, what I will say, though, is I'm going to quote from the article just for the record. After the first piece, there was a second piece updated that said, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry said an Israeli airstrike Tuesday hit a Gaza City hospital packed with wounded and other Palestinians seeking shelter, killing hundreds. However, the Israeli military said it had no involvement in the explosion, which it says was caused by a misfired rocket from the Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad. I think it speaks for itself.
Lots of things. Well, I'd like to quote something from the media. It's breaking news, and perhaps he'd like to check his phone about a breaking news right now of a Liberal MP that secretly advised a Chinese diplomat in 2021 to delay the freeing of the two Michaels. I would like to ask this honourable colleague for a comment onto that.
The big joke about this, she's making this about the journalist. It's not the journalist. It's the executive decision not to be allowed the journalist to call a spade, and in this case, terrorist organization labeled by Canada, a terrorist organization. This is, to me, unbelievable. And blaming the journalists is just actually trying to make it like she's looking for a victim so they can say, stop, don't do it. Look, they're dangerous.
Yeah, Ms. Tate, thank you. Thank you for, again, admitting that there was dangerous disinformation spread in that article.
I have not admitted that. I'm sorry. I'm correcting the record.
Un rappel au règlement, monsieur.
I have a point of order.
Line of questioning, and I would ask you, Mr. Chair, to enforce the rules that we have at committee.
Merci, Monsieur Julian, Madame Thomas. Je vous invite à ne pas faire dire à Madame.
Thank you, Mr. Julian. I would invite Ms. Thomas to not say that Ms. Tate said things that she did not.
Mr. Chair, I would give the floor to Landsman, please.
Madam Tate, Hamas itself admits that it uses terrorism to further its goals. Those facts are not disputed, and the choice not to call Hamas terrorists is willful obstruction of the facts. It is bias, and it does help Hamas. That said, your funding has increased 21%. Your ratings have dropped since 2016. The primetime ratings have dropped 7.6% since 2018. Trust is down 40%. That's a 60% distrust. I will never apologize for holding the CBC to account for $1.4 billion of taxpayer money that you receive. The NDP used to be an opposition party. They used to do that in committee. They used to do that in the House. And I will never apologize for that. But can you tell... Questions and comments?
Assassination and smear, and we said no. The Liberals, we have to find a way that we can start getting answers. It was the New Democrats that were the first party, our leader, to call for a public inquiry. And tonight, we are the ones leading this discussion, and we need this tonight, Madam Speaker, because we are in a situation where we've just got these allegations that I think are explosive, that a sitting member of Parliament may have advised a senior Chinese official over the illegal detention, the hostage-taking of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavar, the ones we know as the two Michaels.
In case you haven't noticed, the foreign election interference, there is no major inquiry. There's a judge looking into it, and the judge has only hired a few people, hasn't finished hiring. And February is the first report. It's basically been buried, and no one seems to be talking about it.
Whether or not those allegations are true. But I'm saying these allegations are so explosive that the Prime Minister must respond. And one of the ways the Prime Minister must respond now is by following the New Democrat call for a public inquiry to restore confidence.
Channel Report.